ಏನು ಸರ್ ನಿಮಗೆ ಮೋಸ್ಟ್ಲಿ
ಸಮಟೈಮ್ಸ್ ಕೇಳಿಸುತ್ತೆ, ಸಮಟೈಮ್ಸ್ ಇಲ್ಲ.
ಸೊ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಟೈಮ್ ಸಮವಾದರೆ ಕೇಳಿಸುತ್ತೆ, ಇಲ್ಲದ್ರೆ ಕೇಳಿಸಲ್ಲ. ಶುರು ಮಾಡೋಣ. ಸೆಂಟ್ರಲ್ ರೀಜನ್. After crossing the mind region, there comes the central region. Super consciousness of the first finest type comes in this region. The theory of invertendo comes in again. What we find on the right side of the heart, we find it on the right side of this region too. D3 is the last stage of super consciousness where every stage is gone. Zero or nothingness. It is a super finest state of super consciousness. Figure ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಈ ತರ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ. But what we have now read is what we find on the right side of the heart, we find on the left side of this region too. Of the right side of this region too ಅಂತ ಬರೆದಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಹಾರ್ಟ್ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಪ್ರಾಯಶಃ ಮೊದಲನೇ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ ಅಂತ ತಗೊಳ್ತು ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಮೊದಲನೇ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಹೆಂಗಿದೆಯೋ ಅದೇ ತರ ಅಂತ. ಈ ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆ ಮೊನ್ನೆ ಕೆಲವರೆಲ್ಲ ಕೇಳಿದ್ರು. ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲಿ ಏನು ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಅಂತ ನೋಡೋಣ ರೀ. ಯಾಕೆಂದ್ರೆ ಅದು ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ವ್ಯತ್ಯಾಸ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಅಂತ ಗೊತ್ತಾಯ್ತು. ಫಿಗರ್ ವ್ಯತ್ಯಾಸ ಮಾಡಿಲ್ಲ, ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲಿ ಹಾಗೆ ಇದೆ. ಹೃದಯದ ಬಲಭಾಗದಲ್ಲಿರುವುದೆಲ್ಲವೂ ಈ ಪ್ರದೇಶದಲ್ಲಿಯೂ ಇದೆ. ಸೊ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ರೈಟಿಂಗ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಬೇರೆ ಇದೆ, ಫಿಗರ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಬೇರೆ ಇದೆ. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ ಏನಪ್ಪಾ ಇದೆ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ವಾಟ್ ಎವರ್ ಇಸ್ ದೇರ್ ಇನ್ ದ ಹಾರ್ಟ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದಾರಲ್ವಾ. ಈಗ ಹಾರ್ಟ್ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ನಾವು 1 to 10 ಅಂತ ಯೋಚನೆ ಮಾಡಿದ್ವಿ. ದಟ್ ವಾಸ್ ಒನ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಇಂಟರ್ಪ್ರಿಟೇಷನ್ಸ್ ದಟ್ ವಿ ಹ್ಯಾಡ್ ಅಲ್ವಾ. ಸೊ ಸೆವೆಂತ್ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಉಲ್ಟಾ ಆಗಿರುತ್ತಲ್ವಾ. So does it what he mean, or does it what he means is what is there in the first point? It's not very clear. He just says whatever is there in the heart we find on the right side of this region too. ಇದೊಂದು ಚೂರು ಜ್ಞಾಪಕ ಇಟ್ಕೊಳ್ರಿ, ಫಿಗರ್ ಪ್ರಕಾರ ಹೋಗ್ಬೇಕಷ್ಟೇ. ಏನಾದ್ರು ಕೇಳಿದ್ರೆ just write it according to what is there in the figure. ಸರಿನಾ? And to avoid confusion ಅಲ್ಲ, don't expand whatever is there in the book, just quote the book. ಅವಾಗ they cannot say oh you are right or wrong. They have to agree because what is there in the book is what you have written. ಸರಿನಾ? ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ ಬಂದ್ರೆ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನೋಡಿ, ಫಸ್ಟ್ ದ ಥಿಯರಿ ಆಫ್ ಇನ್ವರ್ಟೆಂಡೋ ಕಮ್ಸ್ ಇನ್ ಅಗೇನ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾನೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ ಬಾಬೂಜಿ. ಥಿಯರಿ ಆಫ್ ಇನ್ವರ್ಟೆಂಡೋ ಬಂತು ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ 1 7 ಇನ್ವರ್ಟ್ ಆಯ್ತು. ಈಗ 7 10 ಹಾಗೆ ಇದೆ, ಮತ್ತೆ ಇನ್ವರ್ಟ್ ಆಗಲಿಲ್ಲ. 1 ಕಂಪೇರ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ 10 ಇಸ್ ಇನ್ವರ್ಟೆಂಡೋ. ಡಸ್ ಇಟ್ ಮೀನ್ ದಟ್ 1 ಕಂಪೇರ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ 13 ಅಲ್ಲೂ ಇನ್ವರ್ಟೆಂಡೋ ಇದೆ ಅಂತ? ಆರ್ 10 ಕಂಪೇರ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಮತ್ತೆ ಇನ್ವರ್ಟೆಂಡೋ ಇದು ಉಲ್ಟಾ ಆಗಿ ಮತ್ತೆ ವಾಪಸ್ ಒಂದೇ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ ತರ ಆಗತ್ತಾ ಅಂತ. ಇದು ಅರ್ಥ ಆಗ್ತಿದೆ ನಾ ಹೇಳ್ತಿರೋದು? So compared to 1, all the other 3 are inverted nodes. That is one way of looking at it. Or compared to 1, 7th and 10 is inverted node. Compared to 10, 13th is the further inverted node. ಅದನ್ನು ಆಗ್ಬೋದಲ್ವಾ? It's not very clear. It just says the theory of inverted node comes in again as explained in the commentary of 10 maxims. So my understanding is that ಪಿಂಡ ಪ್ರದೇಶದಲ್ಲಿ ಅಷ್ಟೇ ಒಂದು ಕಡೆ ಒಂದು ತರ ಇದೆ, ಇನ್ನು 3 ಕಡೆ ಒಂದೇ ತರ ಇದೆ. ಪಿಂಡ ಪ್ರದೇಶಕ್ಕೆ ಉಲ್ಟಾ ಆಗಿ ಏನು 7th ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇದೆಯಲ್ಲ, ಅದೇ ರೀತಿಯಾಗಿ 10th 13th ಅಲ್ಲೂ ಇದೆ. ದಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಮೈ ಅಂಡರ್ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಡಿಂಗ್. ದಟ್ಸ್ ವಾಟ್ ದ ಉಪನಿಷತ್ತು ಆಲ್ಸೋ ಸೇ. ಸರಿನಾ? ಇದು ಅರ್ಥ ಆಯ್ತಾ? ಯಾರಿಗೂ ಅರ್ಥವಾಗಿಲ್ಲ ಏನ್ ಮಾತಾಡ್ತೀರಾ ಅಂತ. See, theory of inverted ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ what is there on the left side is on the right side. What is there on the right side is there on the left side. That is the theory of inverted. So if you look at the first point and compare it with the seventh point superconsciousness, it reverses. Likewise, if you look at the first point and the 10th point, it reverses. So when Babuji says that the theory of inverted holds good here also, if you take the first point and the 13th point, it should be reverse. In other words, the only first point is in one direction, and the 7th, 10th, and 13th are very similar to one another. That is what it means. ಸರಿನಾ? ಇದೇನಿದೆ ಇಷ್ಟೊಂದು ಕನ್ಫ್ಯೂಷನ್ ಇದೆಯಾ ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ? ಇಟ್ಸ್ ಸೋ ಈಸಿ. ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಪಾಯಿಂಟಲ್ಲಿ ನೋಡ್ರಿ, ದೆನ್ ಕಂಪೇರ್ ಇಟ್ ವಿತ್ 7th ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್. ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಪಾಯಿಂಟಲ್ಲಿ ನೋಡ್ರಿ, ಕಂಪೇರ್ ಇಟ್ 10th ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್. ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಪಾಯಿಂಟಲ್ಲಿ ನೋಡ್ರಿ, ಕಂಪೇರ್ ವಿತ್ 13th ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್. ದಟ್ಸ್ ಆಲ್ ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್. So first point, which is in the Pindu Pradesh, that's why human beings have a different view compared to everything else in the creation. Everything else in the creation are in tune with the divine line. Human beings are on a different trajectory. So they view everything in a different light. That's the reason why we spoke about cosmology and the tuning fork. You remember two arms of the tuning fork. Everything else is in one side of the creation. Human beings are on the other side of the creation. And since they are on the other side of the creation, they have a different view of the things compared to what other things in the creation have. Does it make sense? Come, bring these two things together. What we read in cosmology as the divine and the human arm to what we are reading now. They go together. Sarina? Sari. This kind of superconsciousness is reserved for the incarnation or of deity. The state is sometimes, though, under very rare and exceptional circumstances, bestowed upon some special personality too, who generally comes for the change of the world. His position comes next to the incarnation of deity. He practically enjoys the same position as regards the working of nature. So the incarnation, ಅವತಾರ್ಸ್ ಅಂತ ಏನು ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಲ್ಲ, ಆಫ್ ಡಯಟಿ, ಅದು ಮತ್ತೆ ಸ್ಪೆಷಲ್ ಪರ್ಸನಾಲಿಟಿ, ಬೋತ್ ಆರ್ ಡೂಯಿಂಗ್ ದ ಸೇಮ್ ಥಿಂಗ್. ದೇ ಆರ್ ಬೇಸಿಕಲಿ ಫಂಡಮೆಂಟಲಿ ಚೇಂಜಿಂಗ್ ದ ವರ್ಕಿಂಗ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ನೇಚರ್. So in that way, both are related. Both are one and the same. But if you want to look at the hierarchy, in hierarchy, the incarnation comes first and then the special personality comes. In terms of hierarchy. Nature now requires change, a thorough overhauling, and for this purpose, I may assure you, a special personality has already come into existence and has been at work for 2.5 years. The great sages of today, with the highest standing in spirituality, little known to the world in general, are working under his directions. Still more individuals are being prepared for the task ahead. Those who have eyes and visions may see and realize his working and its effect. The task ahead is a very important nature, and change will be the ultimate result. Time he may take, but the result is inevitable, after which the world will shine forth in its true color. The time is soon at hand when the various forces of nature under his command will set to work under his guidance after he has prepared the field for it. So first we have to prepare the field, and then the forces of the nature will work. They are working for the task. Such a personality gets power directly to keep the machinery of nature in proper working order. Saints with clairvoyant vision of the highest type in spiritual phase, Yogaja, who have the capacity to intercommune with liberated souls that are well developed, can justify these facts by directly communing with him or reading nature. Others will see the results in material form in due course. So, ಅವ್ರು ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಚೇಂಜ್ ತರ್ತಾರೆ, ನಾಟ್ ಇನ್ ದ ಮೆಟೀರಿಯಲ್ ಫಾರ್ಮ್. ದೇ ಬ್ರಿಂಗ್ ದ ಚೇಂಜ್ ಅಟ್ ದ ಹೈಯೆಸ್ಟ್ ಲೆವೆಲ್ ಪಾಸಿಬಲ್ ಇನ್ ಕ್ರಿಯೇಷನ್. From there, it gradually percolates down and then it manifests in here as a change, big change. So the change in the material form is the last of the change. But the change would have occurred a long time back at a higher level. Because what manifests in the Pindu Pradesh is what is there in the Brahmanda. ಬ್ರಹ್ಮಾಂಡದಲ್ಲಿರೋದು ಮ್ಯಾನಿಫೆಸ್ಟೇಷನ್ ಪಿಂಡ ಪ್ರದೇಶದಲ್ಲಿ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. But what is there in the Brahmanda is has a precursor in Parabrahmanda. So what is there in the Parabrahmanda percolates down to Brahmanda, and then from the Brahmanda it percolates down for material manifestation in the Pinda Pradesh. In other words, at the highest level of the creation, you can induce changes there, and that will gradually percolate down to the Pinda Pradesh. That is one of the ways in which the perceptors can work on an individual. And that's something that you will probably read a bit more or learn a bit more after you have passed and got the training. ಸರಿನಾ? ಏನು ಭರತ್ ಪೂರ್ತಿ ಆಶ್ಚರ್ಯಚಕಿತವಾಗಿ ಹಿಡ್ಕೊಂಡ್ಬಿಟ್ಟಿದೆಯಾ?
ಈಗ ಒಂದ್ ಏನೋ ವರ್ಕ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕಂದ್ರ ಸರ್ ನಮ್ಮ ಮೇಲೆ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲೇ ರೆಲ್ಮ್ ಮೇಲೆ ಮಾಡಿ ಅದು ಮ್ಯಾನಿಫೆಸ್ಟ್ ಆಗ್ತೈತೆ ಹಿಂಗ್
Correct. ಅದೊಂದು ದಾರಿ ಅಲ್ವಾ? ಅದೊಂದು ದಾರಿ. ದಟ್ಸ್ ಒನ್ ವೇ ಆಫ್ ವರ್ಕಿಂಗ್. ಪಿಂಡ ಪ್ರದೇಶನ ಕ್ಲೀನ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಕೆಲವು ಕಂಡೀಷನ್ಸ್ನ ಇನ್ಫ್ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು. ದಟ್ಸ್ ಒನ್ ವೇ ಆಫ್ ವರ್ಕಿಂಗ್. Or if you want the condition to have a very strong footing, a root, you can work at a different level and gradually allow that to manifest in the Pinda Pradesh. ಈಗ ಒಂದು ಸಿಂಪಲ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ ಹೇಳ್ತೀನಿ. ಒಬ್ಬ ಕೋಪ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾನೆ ಅಂತ ಇಟ್ಕೋ. ಕೋಪ ಮಾಡ್ಕೋಬೇಡಪ್ಪ ಅಂತ ಅವನಿಗೆ ಹೇಳೋದು ಒಂದು ದಾರಿ. ಅದು ಪಿಂಡ ಪ್ರದೇಶದ ಕೆಲಸ. ಕೋಪ ಮಾಡ್ಕೋಬೇಡ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಕೋಪ ಸಪ್ರೆಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾನೆ ಅಥವಾ ಕೋಪ ಡೈವರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾನೆ, ಏನೋ ಒಂದು ಮಾಡ್ತಾನೆ. ಅದೇ ನಾನು ಅವನಿಗೆ ಬ್ರಹ್ಮಾಂಡ ಮಂಡಳದಿಂದ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಯಾಕೆ ಕೋಪ ಮಾಡ್ಕೋಬಾರ್ದು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಕೊಡ್ಬೇಕು. ಹ್ಯಾಕ್ ಕೋಪ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ತೀರ ಇರೋದು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಕೊಡ್ಬೇಕು. ಅದು ಬ್ರಹ್ಮಾಂಡ ಮಂಡಲದಲ್ಲಿ. ಪರಬ್ರಹ್ಮಾಂಡ ಮಂಡಲದಲ್ಲಿ ಬರ್ಬೇಕಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಇನ್ನೂ ಹಿಂದಕ್ಕೆ ಹೋಗಿ ಕೋಪ ಎಲ್ಲಿಂದ ಬರುತ್ತೆ, ಯಾಕೆ ಒಬ್ಬ ಮನುಷ್ಯನಿಗೆ ಕೋಪ ಬರುತ್ತೆ ಅದರದು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಮೂಲಕ್ಕೆ ಹೋಗ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ. ವಿಷಯ ಒಂದೇ ಕೋಪ, ಆದರೆ ಅದನ್ನ ಹ್ಯಾಂಡಲ್ ಮಾಡಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ನಾನು ಉನ್ನತ ಸ್ತರಕ್ಕೆ ಹೋಗಿ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಹೇಳಿಕೊಟ್ಟು ಅಲ್ಲಿಂದ ಅದನ್ನ ಹ್ಯಾಂಡಲ್ ಮಾಡಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ. That's all I'm doing. At the end of the day, it's still working with Copa only. But the way that I'm actually getting the person to handle that is way different than what a normal person would do in the Pinda Pradesh. That's all it is. ಅಂದರೆ ಇನ್ ಅದರ್ ವರ್ಡ್ಸ್, ನೀವು ಫಂಡಮೆಂಟಲ್ ಸೈನ್ಸಲ್ಲಿ ಬರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಆವಿಷ್ಕಾರನ, ರಿಸರ್ಚ್ನ ಆಕ್ಚುಲಿ ಪ್ರಾಕ್ಟಿಕಲ್ ಡೇ ಟು ಡೇ ಲೈಫಲ್ಲಿ ತೊಗೊಂಬರೋಷ್ಟೊತ್ತಿಗೆ ದೇರ್ ಆರ್ ವೇರಿಯಸ್ ಸ್ಟೇಜಸ್. ಬೈ ದ ಟೈಮ್ ಇಟ್ ಕಮ್ಸ್ ಡೌನ್ ಟು ಅವರ್ ಲೆವೆಲ್. That's how it is. So to just give a very materialistic example, ಈಗ ಆಟಮ್ ಬಾಂಬ್ ಇದೆ, ಎಲ್ಲ ಕಡೆನೂ ಆಟಮ್ ಬಾಂಬ್ ಇದೆ. ಅದು ಆಟಮ್ ಬಾಂಬ್ನ ಸಿಡಿಸೋಕ್ಕಾಗಲ್ಲ. Under certain set of circumstances, for certain when the certain criteria are met, the same atoms can be used for atom bombs. But what holds for the theory of an atom in an atom bomb also holds good for a atom in all other realms also. Atom is the same, alva. Whether the atom that we feel here or the atom that we feel in the atom bomb, both are same. It is just that the conditions under which it is made to work, how it is made to work is changing. ಅಲ್ವಾ? ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ಫಂಡಮೆಂಟಲ್ ಸೈನ್ಸಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾಕೆ ರಿಸರ್ಚ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟು ಅಂತಂದರೆ, ಫಂಡಮೆಂಟಲ್ ಸೈನ್ಸಲ್ಲಿ ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ಇಟ್ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಸ್ಪಿನ್ ಆಫ್ ಎಫೆಕ್ಟ್ ಇನ್ ಟರ್ಮ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಮೇಕಿಂಗ್ ಅವರ್ ಲೈಫ್ ಬೆಟರ್. ಅದೇ ಥರನೇ ಸ್ಪಿರಿಚುಯಾಲಿಟಿನಲ್ಲಿ ಫಂಡಮೆಂಟಲ್ ಲೆವೆಲ್ಗೆ ಹೋದಾಗ ಇಟ್ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಎ ಸ್ಪಿನ್ ಆಫ್ ಎಫೆಕ್ಟ್ ಇನ್ ದ ವೇ ದಟ್ ವಿ ಲೀಡ್ ದ ಲೈಫ್ ಇನ್ ದ ಪಿಂಡ ಪ್ರದೇಶ್. ದಟ್ಸ್ ಆಲ್ ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್.
ಈ ಕಾನ್ಸೆಪ್ಟ್ ಐತಲ್ಲ ಸರ್, ಮ್ಯಾನಿಫೆಸ್ಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿಂದ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಆಗ್ತದಂತ, ಸೊ ಅದು ಇಲ್ಲೇ ಹೆಂಗ್ ಅಪ್ಲೈ ಆಗ್ತದೆ ಸರ್? ನೀವು 1 to 7, 1 to 10 ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರಲ್ಲ ಸರ್, ಸೊ ಅದು ಒಂದೊಂದು ಕಾನ್ಶಿಯಸ್ನೆಸ್ ಸ್ಟೇಜ್ ಅಂತ ಕನ್ಸಿಡರ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ
ಅದಕ್ಕೂ ಇದಕ್ಕೂ ಸಂಬಂಧ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಅದು ಹೇಳಿರತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಕಾರಣನೇ ಬೇರೆ, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ಮಾತಾಡ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಕಾರಣನೇ ಬೇರೆ. ನಾವು ನೇರವಾಗಿ ಸೂಪರ್ ಕಾನ್ಷಿಯಸ್ನೆಸ್ ಮೇಲೆ ಇನ್ವರ್ಟೆಂಡ್ ಪ್ರಿನ್ಸಿಪಲ್ ಉಪಯೋಗಿಸ್ಕೊಂಡು ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡಲ್ಲ. We don't work on it that way. ನಾವು ಸೂಪರ್ ಕಾನ್ಷಿಯಸ್ನೆಸ್ ಮೇಲೆ ಎ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ ಮೆಡಿಟೇಷನ್, ಬಿ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ ಕ್ಲೀನಿಂಗ್ ಇಂದನೇ ನಾವು ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡೋದು. ಅದನ್ನು ಹಾರ್ಟ್ ರೀಜನಲ್ಲೇ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ. ನಾವು ಸಪರೇಟಾಗಿ ಮೇಲ್ಗಡೆ ಇರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಸೂಪರ್ ಕಾನ್ಷಿಯಸ್ನೆಸ್ ಮೇಲೆ ನೇರವಾಗಿ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡಲ್ಲ. ವಿ ಡೋಂಟ್ ವರ್ಕ್ ಡೈರೆಕ್ಟ್ಲಿ ಆನ್ ದ ಸೂಪರ್ ಕಾನ್ಷಿಯಸ್ನೆಸ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಹೈಯರ್ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ಸ್ ಡೈರೆಕ್ಟ್ಲಿ. We work on the super consciousness in the lower point by working on point A meditation and point B cleaning. That in turn has an effect on the higher super consciousness. So it's an indirect thing. See, when you prescribe point A meditation and point B cleaning, most of the abhyasis are in the Pinda Pradesh. Pinda Pradeshದಲ್ಲಿ ಇರೋರಿಗೆ, if you want them to work on the super consciousness, you can only give that point A and point B related things. Many people in Pinda Pradesh, they have no even clue about the presence of super consciousness, the 7th, 10th, and 13th point. How can you actually get them to work there? They have no clue at all. Right? When they come into spirituality, when we talk to them about all these things, at least they are aware that there is something like this A and point, B point, and we can work on it and then utilize it for our journey. To that extent, they will know. Alva? I cannot teach about something that they are totally clueless about. So ಹಾಗಾಗಿ anybody, because all human beings starts their journey in the heart region only, in the first point only. That being the case, you give the prescription of point A meditation and point B cleaning. Does it make sense? ಸೊ ಎಲ್ಲೆಲ್ಲೋ ಇನ್ವರ್ಟ್ ಎಂದು ಪ್ರಿನ್ಸಿಪಲ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಎಲ್ಲಾನು ಇನ್ವರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿಬಿಡ್ಬೇಡ. ಅವಾಗ ನಾನು ನಿನ್ನ ತಲೆ ಕೆಳಗಡೆ ಆಗಿ ಲಟ್ಕಾಯಿಸ್ಬೇಕಾಗತ್ತೆ. ಸರ್, ಇಲ್ಲೂ ನಾವು ಪ್ರಿನ್ಸಿಪಲ್ ಆಫ್ ಇನ್ವರ್ಟ್ ಎಂಡ್ ಅಪ್ಲೈ ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ ನಾನು ಇನ್ಮೇಲೆ ಕಾಲಲ್ಲಿ ನಡೆಯಲ್ಲ, ನಾನು ತಲೆನಲ್ಲೇ ನಡೆಯೋದು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ ಇನ್ವರ್ಟ್ ಎಂಡ್ ಪ್ರಿನ್ಸಿಪಲ್ ಅಪ್ಲೈ ಮಾಡಿಬಿಟ್ರೆ ಕಷ್ಟ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಅರ್ಥ ಆಯ್ತು? So inward end principle is there. It is relevant for certain circumstances under certain criteria. You should not apply it all the time. ಚೆನ್ನ ಈಗ ಸಮಾಜದಲ್ಲಿ ಅದೇ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. ಇನ್ವರ್ಟ್ ಎಂಡ್ ಪ್ರಿನ್ಸಿಪಲ್ ಅಪ್ಲೈ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. ಈಗ ಎಷ್ಟು ಮುಂಚಿಂದ ಅನಾದಿ ಕಾಲದಿಂದ ಬಂದಿರತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದು ಏನು ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ, ಗಂಡು ಮಕ್ಕಳು ಹೊರಗಡೆ ಹೋಗಿ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ, ಹೆಣ್ಮಕ್ಳು ಮನೇನ ಮೇಂಟೈನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಈಗ ಅಲ್ಲೂ ಇನ್ವರ್ಟ್ ಎಂಡ್ ಪ್ರಿನ್ಸಿಪಲ್ ಅಪ್ಲೈ ಆಗ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಶುರು ಆಗಿದೆ. ಗಂಡು ಮಕ್ಕಳು ಮನೇಲಿ ಕೂತ್ಕೊಂಡು ಮಕ್ಕಳನ್ನ ನೋಡ್ಕೊಳ್ತಾರೆ, ಹೆಣ್ಮಕ್ಳು ಹೊರಗಡೆ ಹೋಗಿ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ ಅಂತ. ಇನ್ವರ್ಟ್ ಎಂಡ್ ಪ್ರಿನ್ಸಿಪಲ್ ಎಲ್ಲೆಲ್ಲೋ ಏನೇನೋ ಅಪ್ಲೈ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಹೆಂಗೆ ಅಧ್ವಾನ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಇದೇ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್. ನೀವು ಎಷ್ಟೇ ಅಪ್ಲೈ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು ಕೂಡ ನಿಸರ್ಗದ ಸೃಷ್ಟಿ ನೀವು ಬದಲಾವಣೆ ಮಾಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಆಗಲ್ಲ. ಈ ಗಂಡು ಮಕ್ಕಳು ಮಗುವನ್ನು ಹೆರ್ಲಿಕ್ಕಾಗತ್ತಾ? ಆಗಲ್ಲ ಅಲ್ವಾ? ನಿಸರ್ಗ ಒಂದು ಕ್ರಿಯೆಯನ್ನು ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದೆ, ಒಂದು ಕೆಲಸನ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದೆ. ನೇಚರ್ ಇಸ್ ಗಿವನ್ ಪರ್ಟಿಕ್ಯುಲರ್ ಜಾಬ್ಸ್ ಫಾರ್ ಪರ್ಟಿಕ್ಯುಲರ್ ಜೆಂಡರ್. ಯು ಕೆನಾಟ್ ರಿವರ್ಸ್ ಇಟ್. People have gone mad to such an extent that they are actually changing genders many times. And after changing the gender, they are regretting. Oh, why did I do this? Even if you do the best of the surgeries, we cannot actually get a male to bear a baby in the womb. So, I think we need to draw some line. Somewhere, to what extent we want to kind of meddle with the way that nature is created. You have to draw the line somewhere. Recognition.
So on ground, somebody should be there to read and tell, right? To work from Brahmanda Mandal, if they have to work, there should be on ground. Somebody should be able to read and to get the effect on ground.
What do you mean? Somebody should be there on the ground. Always
I mean,
will be there. Always the preceptors will be there.
Yeah, so sometimes I notice, like, no, even if you explain to them, because this mask cleaning or mask changes which are happening is just not by the way you explain the anger, right? Like, you tell him don't get angry. It's just not like that, but it works from the
Higher level.
Parabrahma higher.
Correct.
So before Brahmandal works, that somebody should be there to pass this there so that it functions from there again.
Correct. See, when you become aware of all these things, when you develop an ability to work from those levels, then for you it is a reality. For a person who is not aware of all these things, then there is no question of working with that because they're not even aware of it. Right? So, for example, we've asked Gopal Krishna to develop a website. Now, what he sees in the back end when he is developing the website is true for him. He knows what he is doing, why he is doing, and how it will be seen outside. But for us, who might not be well versed with that particular language, what we see on the ground is only the reality. We don't know the workings behind. Right? Likewise, for everything that manifests on the ground here, there is some working above. So our job is to kind of become aware of it and work with it. That's why when people get illness, first they try to do something at home. If it doesn't work, they come to the doctor in the hope that the doctor would be able to diagnose it properly and handle it properly so that we can actually get out of the difficulty. Right? That's exactly how it is. And if you go to the local doctor, if you are not able to get the benefit, then you go to the specialist. If you go to the specialist and there also you are not able to get the benefit, you go to the next level. That's how it is. Right? In illness also. The same thing as far as behavior is concerned. So work at the one level and then try to see whether we can mitigate that and then gradually go to the next level. If it doesn't work, then to the next level beyond that. Then you are going gradually to the source of the manifestation of the creation. Remember, we are working on an individual. So to that extent, we need to go to that level. We are not creating changes. To bring about one change in the individual, we cannot change the entire cosmos. The entire cosmos will be functioning as it is. Within that, how to bring about change in this particular individual, that is what we are looking at. But sometimes, for example, for this special personality, nature's mandate is to change the way certain things are getting manifested on earth. So they actually work at a higher level to bring about that. That's why Babaji says, field is being prepared. First you prepare the field and then on the prepared field manifestation occurs. So first you have to prepare the cricket field. On the prepared cricket field, then the match takes place. If the field itself is not prepared, then the match will not take place. Can you see? Very similar. Shall we move to the next point? So these are all different ways of working as a perceptor. One who is interested to know all these things, they can learn all these things. Of course, even when working as a preceptor, you can do the most simple basic thing is just to clean the heart region. That's it. Just clean and then leave it. But if you want something to take hold from a deeper level, then you should know how to work there. Fair enough. So these are all, it depends on to what extent we are interested in learning the work of the perceptors. See, in the same example of the medical, nowadays people are very much interested to know what is the illness, why the illness has come, what to do, how to handle all these things. Earlier days, they were not testing the doctors with these kinds of questions. They used to just take the medicine or suggestion and go and follow the suggestion, and that's it. Life was easy. Now, without being in the medical background, how will, even if the doctor were to explain them in one or two sentences, what is the reason for the illness, what sense are they going to make out of it? For the doctor, it makes a different sense because they are looking at it from a different level of perspective. But for the patient, even if the doctor explains in two sentences, how does it make difference? So we say somebody has anxiety disorder, we say it's an issue, something with the neurotransmitters. Something is gone bonkers in the brain. That's what we say. Then this fellow will say, why did it go like that? The most fundamental question everybody asks is, why? And the next question they'll ask is, why did it happen to me only? It should have happened to the next person. Why me? Okay. And that's a very difficult question to answer. See, ultimately, when something happens, it is we who have created the field for it. Knowingly, unknowingly. That doesn't matter. Depending on awareness, it could be knowingly. When there is no awareness, it is unknowingly. Right? So, anyway, one thing, please remember this, that for anything to happen in the Pind Pradesh, the field has to be prepared. Without the preparation of the field, then nothing happens in the Pind Pradesh. And the preparation of the field does not start on the ground. It starts somewhere else. For example, if I have to prepare a cricket field, then when will we prepare a cricket field? When there is a match. But when do we know that there is a match? Some two boards decide, okay, this match will be played in this particular venue. Right. When that two boards decide, many other grounds also might come up for discussion. But during the course of the discussion, somebody will agree, okay, this is the venue that we will play. Now you tell me, the preparation of the field, is it related to just that day or that venue or that match or that series or that board? What is it related to? It is related to the highest level of functioning, no? From there it is coming down. The manifestation is that, okay, this field is going to be prepared for this match. Right? It's coming from a different level. But the manifestation occurs on the ground in due course of time. Likewise, whatever needs to happen in the Pinda Pradesh is coming from a higher level. And many times we might not know. When you become sensitive to the things which are coming down from nature at the higher points, then you will know this is what is likely to occur in due course of time. And that is sensitivity. And that is intuition. You become aware of certain things happening on the ground, even before it happens, manifests on the ground. You can read the nature very early. This is what is likely to happen in due course. That is why meditation helps you save time. Because if a particular business is not going to work out, you will not unnecessarily waste your time on that. Because you have an inkling whether it's going to work out or not at a very surface level, but at a deeper level, because of the effect of the meditation. See, for example, somebody is about to get married. Bharat, ನಿಂಗೆ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ ಆಯ್ತಾ ಹೋದಾಗ suppose you meet somebody, a person who is in the Pind Pradesh will, without the language of the heart, language of the feeling and all, they'll just go by the conversation which happens at the level of the mind and see whether they are actually fit for one another. That's one level of matching. The second level of matching is look at the feeling of the heart. Now, if both of them have the capacity to look at the feeling of the heart, that's well and good. But sometimes one might have, one might not have. Then the person who has the capacity to look at the feeling of the heart, they probably will tap into this second evidence. Is this something that's okay for me? That gives you a clue regarding how things are likely to emerge. Second thing. Third thing, if somebody is even more sensitive, what they do in our culture, they go and show the Jataka, match the horoscope. Why do they match the horoscope? They match the horoscope because something way beyond our working of the individual mind, which can influence us at the Pind Pradesh, can actually be matched at. If they are matched at the higher level, say at the Brahmanda level, because we are talking about the influence of the stars at the Brahmanda level. Every person is born with a particular constellation or every particular configuration of the stars. That is what the Kundli is about. And then you match the configuration of this person and that person and see whether the stars actually align. We call it as Ganakuta. How many Ganas do they actually come together and actually show concurrence? More the number of Ganas that they match, the more likely that they are likely to succeed in marriage. Of course, I'll tell you one thing which the Purohita will not tell you, the horoscopist will not tell you. The fundamental thing is that these things will work provided your ego is not bloated. If your ego is bloated, then the influence of the stars also will not actually have a positive impact on you. Does it make sense? See, what they have given as horoscope is if you should not actually dismiss it, saying that it has no value. No, it has value. As long as you are within the realm of its influence, it has value. Only when you outgrow the level of its influence, then it has no value. This makes sense? So that's why for people who are in the Pinda Pradesh, they have to have something higher note to go with to see whether the match can occur between two people. And that's why they use the horoscope. So it's a culturally given higher knowledge in a concrete form. How to use the higher knowledge in a concrete form for the benefit of a common man. That's what it is. Like formation of the idols. Idols were there because people could not relate to divinity at a subtle level. For a person who does not have the capacity of subtlety, they had to give something, some way to relate to the divinity. So they form the idols and they give it. The idea was that they will use the idols to relate to the divinity. That's the idea. Now people started relating to the idols only. They forgot the divinity behind. Likewise, people are now, I just saw a Telugu movie yesterday. Some Sarangapayana Jatakam. Some very nice movie because lot of people in Telugu areas, they believe too much in Jatakas, too much in horoscopes. It's too rampant if you go to Andhra. So that being the case, he clearly shows how it works. The choices that we make as an individual, as an, what do you say, I would not call as an awakened, as a sensitive individual, by using the heart for making certain decisions, can at times help us even override the effect of the horoscope. So that's why becoming sensitive in the heart is an important part of our growth. That's where heartfulness meditation comes in. Now, as you become more sensitive, your ability to catch the things at a higher level becomes better. So one Abhyasi was coming here and almost 2-3 months before that person stopped coming, I had inkling this person is going to stop coming in due course of time. And then it just manifested on the ground. It's not my sankalpa, I just got the intuition, that's all. And then it manifested. You did not make a sankalpa for it, but it just happened. You got an intuition that this is what is likely to occur. I told him also that this is what is going to happen. I got this hint that this is what is going to happen a long time back. In other words, I was just telling Gopal Krishna, I don't know whether I told him or somebody. Now we are so sensitive that we can clearly see where is the individual taking, the individual line of our samskar is taking us, and where is the divine wanting to take us. You can clearly see the difference between the two. And now you can actually stop yourself from exercising that individual choices and allowing the divine to flow through. That's what you're doing now. It becomes very clear. This is what the nature wants, and this is what I want as a person. And this is my ego-led choice. No, I need to learn to recognize it and not act on it. Not act on the individual-led choice. Allow the divine to pass through. This is another stage of sensitivity that you develop as you grow. Otherwise, sometimes we are pushed in the direction of individual choices because we don't have any awareness of the divine choice. In every situation, there are two people making choices. One is the divine, other one is the individual. And for a person who is not sensitive to the divine choice, they feel that everything they are only making a choice. Okay. And if you want to grasp what the divine is making the choice, you have to stop making the choice yourself. And it is in this context that we got arranged marriage. Arranged marriage is a way of allowing the divine to work for you rather than you making your individual choice. And you would go along with it, with the arranged marriage choice. Because you have the belief that the divine is working through the different people who are going to make the arrangement of the marriage. And now people don't want anybody else to interfere, including the divine. They don't want the divine also to interfere with their life. It is my life, I will do what I want. You should not say anything. To that extent, we have now grown in individuality. Western cultures, the way that we lead life, takes you away from individuality. Eastern cultures. Western cultures reinforce individuality. That's the biggest difference. In everything, Western culture reinforces individuality. You are walking on the ground, and then you did not see that there is a stone out of its place. You know that BWSSB, Bescom people, they remove the stone and put it to the side, and they don't put any warning signs. See, as a person who is walking on the street, don't you think it should be your responsibility to see what is there in front of you? Okay. Now, you slip and fall. Now, did the BWSSP or BESCOM people come and tell you should fall? No. You only did not see. You only slipped and fell. But you now want to assert your individual rights to such an extent that you want to blame the BWSSP or the BESCOM for the foolishness that you have done. So this is the kind of culture that we have developed. Blaming others for everything is a culture where you are actually projecting your own individuality and refusing to take responsibility. That's what you blame. When you learn to take responsibility, the tendency to blame will come down. Automatically, you will accept maybe there is my part also in this. And I think I need to acknowledge and I need to correct myself. So there is a space for growth when you acknowledge it that way. But when you go on blaming the entire world for the foolishness that we do, and you want the entire world to change, then we will never grow. That's all that happens. For example, a fire accident occurs in a theater. Everybody will blame the fire owner, the theater owner. As an individual, when you went to the theater, did you check that there was the fire safety norms which are adhered to? Did you check them? No. You also contributed to it. Why you only blame the theater owner? So the thing is, we have gone to the society has gone to that level now. For anything and everything, we want to blame something outside us, and not actually acknowledge the part that we actually play and contribute to it. That is what happens. See, recently, a bus coming from Hyderabad to Bangalore got burnt. Now, everybody blamed everybody else. But the people who were getting into the bus, did they ever check that the bus had fire safety norms? No. You have taken it for granted. And after that, see, at the end of the day, as long as your life is there, you can blame somebody. When the life itself is gone, who are you going to blame? No, sir, I'm going to go in spirit and catch hold of that person.
Work from Brahmanda Pande.
No, when people die in accidents, they don't go to Brahmanda. They'll be hovering around in the Pindanda only. You can feel it. One of the persecutors recently were complaining that there is some female spirit hunting him.
Oh.
ಬರೋದು ಅನ್ಕೊಳ್ತದೆ ಅದು ಯಾರಪ್ಪ ಅದು ನನ್ನ ಕಡೆ ನಾನು ಕಳಿಸ್ಬಾರ್ದಿತ್ತ ಅಂತ